Hello, welcome to my WIP and Chat. This is where I chat while working on my work in progress. This one's captured by Radiance and it is School Gardens. I am using a Diamond Art Club pen with the tips. I'm not telling you the putty because I'm running an experiment. And then I'm using my Firefly tray, and I will be putting my trash in the Diamond Art Club tray just because I normally use containers, but I'm working out of bags. So I don't want to open and close a bag every time I have trash. So I just kind of set this here. And yeah, my name is Marissa and I make a variety of diamond art content. And let's kind of dive in. I just have to say, I am loving this canvas so far. Like, I have made some progress finally. I did get a new tripod, and this is my first time using it. So I feel like you're a little higher up, and I can't figure out how to bring it down quite yet. I do need to fiddle with it a little bit more, but I just wanted to check to see how sturdy it was. But I'm kind of a fan. I'm gonna turn autofocus off, Look at that, I remembered things. How weird is that? Like, I'm remembering to do things. I told you guys it would eventually happen. And yes. So how is your week going? Mine is going pretty good. I haven't worked much this week. I actually did get called in to work today for a party, and I love working big parties. And those of you that don't know, I am back to waitressing and bartending. This time I will be waitressing, which is kind of weird because I haven't done that very much since I've gone back to working. So I'm kind of excited, but I love working big parties. I just don't have an apron. I've been working out of a fanny pack and I think that's been going okay. I don't know, I'm excited, and I know the bosses know I love working big parties. I used to, before when I was full-time, have all of the big parties, and just, they could be hard, but if it's a regular party that comes in consistently, you kind of memorize who gets what, and it's probably one of the easiest things. So much easier than having a huge party come in and you don't know them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that memorizing game, and you get to learn everybody's little quirks and what they enjoy and what they don't enjoy, and you know, what they come to expect from you. And it's, I don't know, I love it. We used to have this group that would come in that would play games, and it was for a retired community, and it was so much fun. And some could be so freaking picky, and others are just so casual, and I loved figuring out individual quirks and stuff. So through all the places that I've worked, they've all kind of learned like my strengths and my weaknesses when it comes to that. Bartending when it's busy, and then also scheduled big parties are my two go-tos. I always forget to ask, and I always regret afterwards, what is your profession? Like, what do you do for a living? Or what do you do? I'm always curious. And do you enjoy what you do? Do you guys like being this high, or should I bring you guys closer? I don't know. I want to test this out, but I wanted to ask in the beginning of this video, should I bring you guys closer or not? I always felt like before maybe you were a little too close, and then anytime I would get kind of high like this on my old tripod, it would start like wobbling, and I would have to add more and more cardboard to kind of stable it out. So I don't know. Let's just let me know, and I can definitely adjust it each time. I want to see how editing goes too. And another thing is, for my WIP and Chats, I feel like I'm just getting a little bit repetitive. I don't have any very specific subjects that I talk about, and I've been listening to some self-growth stuff and also just other WIP and Chats and stuff, and I love the conversation of like self-awareness and self-growth. Growth. Oh my god, I can't talk today. Self-growth and things like that. And then I had a brainstorming thing with House of Miscellanea for a few hours on Friday. Now, remember, I schedule these a week ahead of time, so this is not like this most recent Friday, it would be the Friday before. And it was so nice to have someone to talk shop with and brainstorm and find collaborative ideas and all of that too. And we had talked about how she does her tarot cards and the readings and how those have truly helped me. And I meditate on those things, or, you know, I do the self-reflection in the showers now, and really just feel like I've been floating in the wind and not really sure or confident in myself recently. So Naomi got me on my feels, and I was just thinking about how I actually do implement the conversations that she does. And I highly suggest anyone, you know, sip her Kool-Aid and watch her videos, especially her WIP and Chats, because they're not just the typical, hey, here's my day, how's my week, like I normally do. Like, I go over what we've done all week and how work has been going and puppy play dates and all of that fun stuff. I enjoy those WIP and Chats too. So, I mean, it just kind of depends on what you like. Like, me and the kids had a very good week. We went and saw Beetlejuice this week with my mom, and they got to spend the night over there. I got a ton of diamond painting done. I was able to kind of just relax and zone out. Listen to a bunch of books this week too. And I did shoot my bow a little bit. I also finally got to go on a walk with my pup this morning, and it was so nice. He did get a little scared of the Amazon Prime delivery truck. It like stopped right in front of us, and I wasn't expecting it, so I kind of had him stop and wait so the driver could get out and deliver their package without us trying to walk around, because they had 2 giant boxes like stacked on top of each other. And I guess my dog, Charlie, was not expecting someone to walk out of the big truck. Like, he did fine until all of a sudden this woman walks out carrying these 2 giant boxes where she can't even see over her head. And her head was like peeked around the box on the other side. So we're on this side, and her head was like looking around the boxes on this side. So he didn't even see that this person had a head. So he just saw this figure with these 2 giant boxes and probably didn't really understand what they were. And he got so scared. I felt so bad. I should have like prepped him more, but at the same time, it's kind of good for him to experience those things and to learn not to overreact. So I asked the driver if she could do a little exercise of like getting back into the truck and then walking out again, and then give him a treat. So he like correlates the big trucks and people carrying boxes and just different noises and sensations, and looking around and seeing visibly different shapes, I guess, move around is what I'm trying to say. And she was so sweet about it. She like walked out with another box that was smaller, and I had some boiled chicken that I use sometimes as like an extra treat, especially if we haven't done something in a while, so he gets like the good treats. And she gave him some of those, and after like the second time, he was completely relaxed. For the third time that I had her come out, and she was such a sport. Like, I truly appreciated that. And I'm not shy about asking for help, you know, especially when I'm doing outside training. Like, if I have neighbors that have wild dogs that are crazy at their fences with the dogs, I'll go out to walk specifically around the times that they have their dogs out, and I will let them know, hey, if you hear them going kind of crazy, I'm doing this with my dog to train them to not react to your dogs being territorial of their own property. You know what I mean? So that they don't come out being like, why are my dogs going insane? And then I'll ask them, like, is it okay if I do it at this specific time? I've noticed you always have them out, or is that going to be distracting you? Like, do you have something going on? So I always try to be considerate too, not just be the asshole walking their dogs and getting the other neighbor's dogs all riled up. Like, no, I'm not that asshole, but I do try to use it to my advantage. So since we haven't been able to walk much, we just did a super easy, not super training intensive walk, like normally in front of every mailbox or car that drives by. It was just kind of like a reintroduction to walking out in the neighborhood outside. We have been doing a lot of walking in like Home Depot, Lowe's, pet stores and stuff like that. So he's used to those environments, but we've been out of the outside atmosphere, and I won't walk at night. My neighborhood has no sidewalks, it has no street lights, barely even stop signs. I think we have like 2 stop signs throughout my whole neighborhood. So at nighttime with a black dog, I don't want to risk us getting hit, especially since apparently speed limits are just suggestions in this neighborhood. So that's why I try to mainly keep it into public places and stores during the day when it's too hot. But now that it was actually a little chillier in the morning, I say a little chillier, like 75 degrees is cool. But, you know, instead of waking up and it being automatically like 80 degrees like I'm used to, it's now like 75 to 70. So I feel like that's more appropriate temps to walk a dog outside, especially on gravel and stuff. I really try not to walk on the asphalt, but it's definitely better than waking up to 80 to 90 degree weather. And it was so nice. It was relaxing. It was just felt good to get my blood pumping this morning before I recorded the What's Up shop and, you know, have a little bit of my workout gear on. And it was nice. My little workout shorts, though, are a little bit more snug than they used to be. So it kind of made me giggle when I put them on. Like, yep, this needs to happen every day again. And I need to start eating healthier. I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon, which isn't good, and I've noticed the difference in my headaches. It's definitely getting into that everyday territory of having a headache and trying to not let that headache turn into a full-blown migraine, which I've had a couple of those. I try not to complain too much, so I don't really bring them up because it's just unnecessary, and I think everyone understands when your head hurts, it sucks. So that has been kind of my day and how it's been going, and I talked about the brainstorming and also self-awareness. I kind of want to dip back into that a little bit. I kind of been thinking about the reasons why I started my YouTube journey and what I wanted to talk about. And I had started off doing like my WIP and story times, WIP and opinions, and I kind of feel like I stepped in a landmine and I was not ready or fully equipped or mentally capable of stepping on such a big landmine at first. I love the slower growing, you know, consistent type of thing, not just a whole bunch of new eyes on me at once. So that was a little terrifying, and I took a huge step back from giving a ton of opinions on things and those types of stuffs. So I'm thinking of going back into that. I am such a people person, like a people pleaser. Like, I want to be that yes man. I want to make sure not to offend anyone. I want to respect everyone's choices and their thoughts and how they process things and the differing opinions. I don't want anyone to feel left out or called out or exiled, but I also have strong opinions, always have, and needed to work on myself some on being able to state those without really worrying about backlash and just accepting, one, not everybody's gonna like you. And I've known that from the beginning. I've grown aware of that. I understand that. And my fear doesn't come from people not liking me, because I could care less if you don't like me. It's the fear of me possibly accidentally, like, not disrespecting you, but hurting your feelings. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, I don't want to ever feel like, or like when I talk about a major subject, if it hits home, I don't want you to ever feel like it's because I'm basing judgment on you or calling you out specifically. Like, I don't want to ever hurt anyone's feelings. I just want to make it apparent that sometimes everyone has different opinions, and that should be expected and respected. Does that make sense? I feel like sometimes when someone has a differing opinion from you, they like to take it personally. And I love talking about thoughts and different opinions and like those types of things and what I agree with and what I think is moral and what's not moral and what is responsible, not responsible, and just basically my judgments on things. Not necessarily disrespectful judgments of like, hey, you're a shit person, but like, hey, when this happens like this and I find it to be shitty behavior, I want to be able to talk about it so possibly growth can come, or just because I feel like talking about it. And I really stepped away from that, and I don't like that I've done that. I don't like that I want to be a people pleaser so much that I thought or think that I can make everyone happy, and that's just not possible. And I realized I don't really want to do that. Does that make sense? Like I want to find my little nook, and I want to keep my little nook, my little people, my sparkle butts, you know, like-minded people that aren't afraid to give differing opinions, or that can respect and understand I have opinions and can talk about my thoughts and stuff, and know that we could agree to disagree, and I never bring judgment upon you personally, but like just certain topics like the anti-MLM. I think everybody in MLM is a terrible person out there to, you know, prey on weaker minded people and people in certain groups that are more subjected to being scammed. Do I think that they are all just cult-like evil people? Absolutely not. I think people truly go into these with the intentions of thinking they are serving people, but they're without realizing the harm that they're bringing, and just bringing awareness and education on those things is important to me. You know, I'm a huge advocate for the anti-MLM movement, and I want to be able to talk about things like that, but I'm scared I'm going to hurt someone's feelings, or how I feel like they can use religious manipulations, and they could use, you know, manipulations on new moms of like, hey, do you want to be able to work from home, or just like the weird tactics that they have in the cult like activities that they do. I don't know. And I don't think that I've gone into those as much as I've wanted to previously. I want to be able to support and talk about companies, but also call out stuff that I don't like that companies sometimes do, or just other creators and how certain behaviors can really put harm out there without intentionally doing it, and target mental illness and those things too. Like those are the conversations that draw me to YouTube in general. And I went into doing YouTube with the intention of, you know, sharing a hobby that I love, and also being able to talk about a broader spectrum of things. So I think I'm gonna start focusing a little bit more on that and worrying less on if I piss people off. I'm coming to understand more. I thought I got it before, but now it doesn't matter what you do. You're gonna piss someone off somewhere, and that's okay. I don't want everyone to like me, and it just comes from when I was younger, being a total yes man when I was younger, of wanting everyone to get along and be that mediator and make sure no one's feelings are hurt and make sure everybody around me gets along. I tend to be the babysitter, you know, the median, the middle communicator if someone's not getting along, and trying to really evaluate and see all sides and yada, yada, yada. But I always put my own thoughts and opinions last. And that was one thing my therapist had me working on. And I've really stopped working on that. And I don't like it. And I just kind of thought about these things on my walk this morning. I talked a little bit with Naomi about it. And really, I miss bringing up things that I don't fully agree with, you know, and I want to get back into that, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to. So yeah, if there's any topics or harmful stuff or you know, things that are unintentionally bringing a negative effect on a community or whatnot. Those are what I want to talk about. And I need to start doing that in my story times. Like, they might just be little anecdotal stories about little stupid opinions that I have. And I haven't really done that in a while. But I also haven't been fully exercising. When I am walking my pup inside of a grocery store, or not a grocery store, a home goods store or something like that where I'm allowed to, it's more of a concentration on making sure my dog's being respectful, and I'm more in close proximity to other animals and a lot more people. I'm not out in nature, so it's harder for me to ground myself and really reminisce and think about deeply what I'm doing and what I want to do. So I really think I want to start focusing on that again. And what am I really doing? I've been in a rut. I've mentioned it a couple times of like content. Like, I don't know necessarily what I wanted to do, but I'm getting back into it, and walking and thinking really helped me clear my mind a little bit. So don't forget to get out there and do what grounds you. Think about your self-worth. Think about what grounds you and how to better yourself and to stay true to yourself is what I'm trying to say that I needed to do. And I've been talking on many of these WIP and Chats of how I needed to get back in nature, and I miss it, and this and that, and I just realized I needed to just do it. So I'm going to challenge myself to do a little bit of this grounding and self-thinking and reflection, and just, what am I doing? Is this, like, why am I doing it? How am I doing it? And reminiscing and just grounding myself again. It's much needed and healthy. And my mental health really needs it. And Charlie needs it too. And I'm so glad it's finally cooling down. Every year I kind of go through this little bit of a decline of motivation. And then I just kind of need to reevaluate and assess. And that's what I'm doing. And also during that walk, I thought about a lot of, you know, where I'm at in life. And yes, I'm back to work, but my main job that I truly take on and thrive in is being my family's like main caregiver. Even with like my friendships and stuff, like I'm the babysitter. I'm the everyone have everything that they need, you know. Are your needs being met? Do you have everything? Are you fed? Are you thirsty? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you have what you need? Just like, that's just how I am. And I've always been like that. I've always wanted to take care of everyone around me. And I think I also lean so heavily into that I need to make everyone's life around me easier, that I sometimes forget to do that for myself. And just going on a simple walk around the neighborhood to where I don't have to plan and pack and make sure Charlie has everything he needs, you know, because we're just going around my neighborhood. I think I have forgotten that mind escape is super healthy, and that sometimes I give too much of myself to everyone around me, that I forget I'm important too. And it was just kind of nice to soak in stuff around me and realize, like, I can love what I'm doing. I could love being a caregiver and thinking of everybody else's needs, and I could be tired. Two things could be true at once, and it just, that really took a whole load off my shoulders, because I get into that, like, self-doubt sometimes, and it's that, like, am I doing enough? Like, oh, I realized I forgot this, and this, but I also did this, and this, and it's constant comparing of, did I do enough? Did I not do enough? Is everybody good? And whatnot, and then realizing that they don't expect that of me. I expect that of me. I am meeting their needs, and sometimes to check in with those around you and remember, like, hey, you good? Do you need anything? Is there anything you don't need? And just kind of, you know, reassess, and realizing you're going above and beyond, and they might not need it. you know? So sometimes I cage myself into doing too much and hold unnecessary jobs on myself, I guess I could say, you know? So that was really eye-opening and nice and reflective. And then that also got me to realizing I do enough. And it felt like a relief, like this huge weight off my shoulders of, I'm actually good at this and I still enjoy it and I'm allowed to be tired and I could just take a day to not do stuff. So the day that my mom had the kids over the weekend, I kind of just did my own thing and realized everyone's lives around me, their lives did not fall apart. Like, they were okay. And what I offer and do for them is my way of showing them I love them versus I have to do this and they're going to be upset if I don't. You know, so I've learned more like that's more of my love language, and it felt so good to just realize that, acknowledge it, do a nod towards that and being like, okay, well, now I know I don't have to do this. I want to do it. And just separating that difference felt so good. And speaking of just doing stuff and realizing I can do stuff for me and it feeling good, I have been going out and just shooting my bow a little bit by myself, because normally I like to do that with the family. I like to do it when my husband's there and take turns with the kids, which can make it just a little bit more complicated because you have to make sure you know everyone's positions, making sure they're doing it right. It felt good to just kind of go out there on my own, stretch my muscles, focus on what I need to do, get lost in it for a little bit and just do it. And I needed that. It has re-excited me, reinvigorated me, and kind of grounded me a little bit more. And when the kids went out and shot recently too, I was able to just kind of relax, and I had already gotten my time in, so I didn't feel like we had to rush through everyone's turn to, you know, not miss the sunlight, because we like to do it after the kids do all their homework and in between dinner and that time. And so the sun's kind of starting to set and we want good light for shooting, obviously. So it was kind of just like a relief of like, hey, I don't have to make every single little aspect a family event. And I realized I got more of that one-on-one time too, and it was fun. Oh my God, my kids are getting so good, but I've also realized like my progress with it. I started shooting about the same time I started diamond painting, and now I can shoot standing, I can shoot sitting, I can shoot from a blind, and it's just been so interesting seeing, like, before I could shoot only at 5-10 yards, and I never thought that I would be able to move back as quickly and consistently as I have been able to recently. I could barely hit the buck or a whole target the size of a giant deer consistently at 5-10 yards. And now I could shoot at 30 yards, and I can do that standing or sitting and in a blind. And it was just kind of nice to reflect and think like, wow, my work is really paying off, and it's made me excited for hunting. It falls back into that I put that pressure so hard on myself that I sometimes forget to sit back and just enjoy. So it's just been such a good reflection week for me. I didn't really do much in the say of like, we went out and did a bunch of things. Like, it's been more of my concentration being on reflection and thinking and kind of not finding my joy again, because I never fully lost it. Like, I enjoy what I do, but respecting it and understanding it a little bit more and finding ways to enjoy what I'm enjoying more without that unnecessary weird guilt that I get sometimes. So it's just been a lot of deep thought and reflection, and I think I needed that. Just give me a little kick in the butt. I had my high hopes for the What's Up shop, and it has been going so good. And this is the first week. When you're seeing this, it would already be up. So last week's, it was the first time that I didn't get any emails, and I was kind of freaking out, like, oh my God, is this failing? And then I realized it was insane of me to think that every week I would have companies emailing me with things that they got going on. Sometimes there's just not much going on, or they didn't think to email, or I didn't reach out to as many companies as I normally do. And I sat down for hours and throughout the week and was like, well, what companies did I notice and what's going on here and there? And it was just nice to kind of browse. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And it just brought me back that spark of excitement too. And I think that I needed that little slice of humble pie, and realizing the work that I put in is the enjoyment that I get out of it too. And sometimes my little joy is as much work as I put into something. Does that make sense? Like, I had so much fun just exploring Etsy and exploring Facebook and reading comments and looking up different things about different shops and seeing the different personalities and ways companies run and the innovative, creative things that you can find that are just slightly hidden or so new no one's even seen them yet, or not many people have noticed them yet, and they just haven't gotten the recognition that I think they deserve yet. And it was just fun exploring, I guess. And I don't know, it felt good. So maybe this week I do need to take some time to reach out to more companies, but I also need to just sometimes sit back and let myself explore and just see what's out there. So that was tons of fun and a great little lesson. God, I've been so introspective this week, and I'm for it. Do you ever have weeks where you're just like overthinking every little thing and coming to conclusions about yourself or your surroundings or what's going on in your life? I feel like it's what I've needed, and I've fallen out of touch with doing. I don't have therapy consistently like I used to before. Now it's more for like emergency visits or calls and those types of things. So I've fallen a little bit out of touch of practicing, of checking in with myself. And that can be so freaking important. And it was just, I needed it so much. And I don't want to sit here and ramble about mental health and health this and me throughout this whole video. But I guess that's kind of like what a WIP and Chat is anyways. And I don't know, that's just where my head is right now. And I love hearing about self-growth, I cannot say it, I give up. Self-growth from other people too. And those tend to be some of my favorite WIP and Chats, where it's like, gives you a chance to kind of just think for a bit. And I figured I could share inner thoughts sometimes too. And yeah. Oh, also speaking of the brainstorming thingy that I was talking about with Naomi from House of Miscellanea, she gave me a challenge. And I had expressed to her that I don't want like the tarot cards and the stones and all of those things are her thing. And I don't want it to be my thing. I want to learn. I want to, it can't be my thing. I am not fully educated on subjects like that. I am just intrigued and interested, and those have been in my life for a long time, and I've never really expressed that I'm interested in learning. I just assumed everyone around me has these powers and this introspective and just knowledge that I never thought that I could. So she gave me a challenge for this week I took a note of it. It says, find the stones for the birthstones that are not the precious ones, but the other ones. Not the cut ones that would correlate with them, but the ones that are just like stones, because there's more than one stone appointed to different birthstones. And she kind of was like, well, I think that would be a good starter point, because I told her how I was talking to my kids about their specific birthstones, and I was having a hard time finding like what the traditional ones were and their meanings and what they could do. And that's when she was like, but that's the challenge, is sometimes You know, what stone speaks to you personally doesn't have to be the traditional one. It could be the other ones. And she was talking about how the challenge could be looking into the other stones and those ones. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I'm going to do that this week and just kind of learn about all of the stones that go into different birthstones and see which one works for me and I feel correlates best with me. And I thought that would be fun, and I will do that. So since she gave me that challenge, I will talk about that a little bit next week. But like I said, those things are hers, but I am becoming her little pupil and learning things, and I will talk about my journey some with that. And she'll probably give me challenges, I don't know, every week, every couple weeks or something like that, because I am interested in learning and wanted to, you know, boost her up and talk about her wealth of knowledge, and it's her thing, and I absolutely love that for her. I just want to learn some stuff. My stuff is more, you know, story times, talking about family, becoming more involved in doing my opinions more often and whatnot. So I thought that would be pretty cool to do the little challenges and what I've learned from them and what I have reflected on, if they have like a specific thing. And maybe if she gives me a challenge of, hey, if you have this stone, do this with it, and just kind of learning from her and it being her thing. And I love it. And also, it's her pens. I want to know how she does the woo-woo with them. I don't want to do the woo-woo, but I am so interested in learning the philosophy and the power and the medicinal and the magical essence that she just portrays. So she's just a huge inspiration, and honestly, I think her and my mom would be besties, and I don't want to introduce him because she's my friend. I'm just kidding. I totally would introduce him, and I feel like they'd be besties. I'm going to be doing that this week. I kind of want to get into talking about the shows and the reading and what I've been just watching and reading this week. I'm still on my Buffy kick, and it has happened. Spike and Buffy are kind of turning into a thing, and I had a feeling it was going to be going this route. I think I've talked about it a little bit before, but I don't understand. They are toxic, like so friggin' toxic. I don't understand why, but I understand it does raise the stakes. It can cause controversy between her and her friends and all of that jazz. So like, I understand why for the show it could push the story along, but it's just not realistic for a relationship like that to be substantial in any way. They are toxic as fuck. But I don't know, I guess it is what it is. I don't have to agree to continue enjoying the show. But Dark Willow, I love me some Dark Willow. I love that it is taking this, like, it's taken this swerve. Like, she has always been the good girl, the following the rules, not being power hungry. And I think she's just become a little bit monotonous. Like, you have these expectations of her and expect it to never change. And then all of a sudden, you know, she kind of does change. She's using it too much, and she's using magic too much, and she becomes addicted a little bit. And I think that progression and the way that they portrayed it and put it into the structure of the story of how it was happening over the season so slowly, and introducing her self-change and then different relationship and just watching her growth was done so well. Like, I absolutely love this change. I hate that Willow's going through it in the story, obviously, but I think these are some lessons that she naturally was leaning towards having to learn. And it's just the way it's portrayed in the story is so good. So freaking good, and I love it so much. And then Amy the rat is back, and I didn't realize she was always such a, you know, bad influence. And I think it came at that perfect time. Like, Willow's going through these things with her significant other, Tara. I love her, by the way. I love their relationship. They're so cute together. And it's just, I don't know, I hate that they broke up for temporary. I'm giving all the spoilers. If you've never watched Buffy, fast forward through this. But I love the progression that it's taking and the lessons that she's having to learn. But I swear, I want them to get back together. Willow needs to learn her lessons, and then they need to be happily in love. I hope that by the end of, I think 7 seasons is all of them, by the end of it, that they are back together happily ever after, and there's a cute little wedding between the two of them, because oh my god, I think they are so perfect. I loved Oz, but I feel like Tara fits her more. I feel like their relationship is more authentic, and the progression of it, and just the way that they are together, and the way that in the storyline their relationship was like built up. Perfect. I love it so much. They're one of my favorite couples, honestly. And then I have been reading my Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. I don't remember if I talked about it last week or not, but I finished it. It is 5 books. I've been listening to it. I've been debating on, because it's the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac, and the authors are Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti, and they're some of my favorite authors. And their Darkmoor Penitentiary series is finally finished, and I've been holding off on buying the book because I'm on a no-buy for the last book of the series. And I know I want the physical book, but then it takes away time from diamond painting, and I don't want to do that. It's my meditative time. It's my, I do it with my family. I do it sometimes just for me, and I don't want to take away from that. So I've been like, I don't want to buy the physical. I want the physical book because I have the first 3 physical books and I want to finish the series. But I've been thinking that possibly until I can spend money, I'm going to re-listen to the Zodiac Academy series. It's not my favorite series. Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac is my favorite. And then that's kind of the start of that world. And then the Zodiac Academy is like building on from that world. Like there's some things from that story that go into the second series. And then it goes Darkmoor Penitentiary, which I like a little bit more than the Zodiac Academy. But while I'm on a no-buy, I think I'm going to re-listen to that and then come to a firm decision on if I'm going to buy the credits off of Audible, listen to the first 3 books of the Darkmoor Penitentiary series, and maybe even the finale so that I could listen to it while I diamond paint and I can have the best of both worlds. And then as a gift to myself, maybe for my birthday, because my birthday is in January, buy the physical copies, and then that is when I can own 4 of the books. So that is what I'm thinking for my reading plan. I haven't been writing, but you know what? I'm fine with that. It kind of feeds my writer's soul when I map out and think of a beginning, middle, end of a video, and I'm just kind of putting my brain to challenge that way, because I am working again, and I've just come to accept that writing is not a big part of my life right now. I did it for a few years, I've completed a lot, and right now I'm just enjoying the art of other people's writing, and that is enough for me right now. Eventually, of course, I'm going to have to get back into it because I truly do love developing storylines and plots and growth and structure myself too. It's just a nice little creative outlet, but it's not like detrimental. Does that make sense? Like, I don't need it right now. I just kind of miss it. So I've been fantasizing and thinking of storylines and taking notes, and then when that true need actually hits me, I will have little prompts to write, and I can do little scenes like that. I don't need to write a 100,000 word book to satisfy my writing needs. I really don't. And I'm learning that, and that's pretty cool. So I have like these little skits that I could put together, which I think is pretty cool, or just these little anecdotal like scenes that I could do, and that is really enjoyable actually, and gets my brain going and my brain flowing, and I like that. And it was kind of a nice realization to come to, And then also when it comes to me finishing the Zodiac Academy, which I know I'm everywhere, I'm going back into reading. We started talking about words in books and then it got me thinking about writing. But what I'm reading, yes, after the Zodiac Academy and the Darkmoor, and I can decide on if I want to spend the credits, but in between, I do have a library of like 800 on my Audible. I'm thinking that until I'm comfortable spending money responsibly and stuff like that, I could just go through my library, my book library there, and re-listen and reread some books there, because I have been in this mentality my whole life with reading, especially. I read it once, I don't need to read it again. You know, I know what happens. There's no way I can enjoy it as much as I did that first time. I chase that feeling of excitement and wonderment and curiosity and trying to guess what's happening next. And I get so involved in my imagination with these stories that I chase that first time experience again with every new book, that I kind of just denied that I can enjoy a book even more the second time. So I'm coming to realize this year especially, it's been my rereading era, right? And for years I didn't reread anything. So I have 800 books, and of those 800 books, a ton of them, I can't say I fully love and fell in love with every single one. That's just not true. But there are some in there that just kind of stuck with my heart, and I remember loving so much that I have made it a goal to reread and see and test to see if I enjoy it even more. And then that got me into rereading and listening to the Zodiac series, the Harley Quinn series, Susan Valenti and Caroline Peckham's stories over and over and over again just this year alone. And every time I have enjoyed it either just as much or even more, because I remember more details. I think about like the foreshadowing and the little clues that are Easter eggs that are put in every single book and every single series for what's to come that I'm catching on and noticing now. And man, it's opened up a new world for me and I friggin' love it. So now I want to start going back to all of my other favorite authors like J.T. Geisinger, Harley LaRue, and Tilly Cole, and just there's so many authors that I have fallen in love with, Victoria Ashley, that I need to go back and start rereading, re-listening to all of these stories to see if I feel the same. Like, I'm so excited and I feel so reinvigorated too. Like, I am here for it. Anyways, do you guys have favorite authors and books and stuff like that? I feel like I haven't talked much about books recently, and just getting lost into a good story sometimes just hits that home spot. Like, it's a comfort thing for me. It's my thing. I don't share that with anybody else, and I absolutely love it. Especially like doing dishes or diamond painting and listening to a book. Sweet spot right there. That is the sweet spot. Oh, I could also start the Black Dagger Brotherhood from J.R. Ward series again, because I think I have like 18 or 19 of those books on my Audible. Oh, and I loved every single one of those stories too. And there's also the sub-series that go off of that one too. And there's new books coming out too. Ooh. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, my beautiful little sparkle butts and favorite people, I think I'm going to leave this here. I feel like I've just been rambling and talking for friggin' ever. And I kind of want to finish this section, and then I have to get ready for work. Well, I have to go get the kids, do the homework, get dinner ready and set up, and then I have to go to work. So there's a bunch of stuff that I have to do, and I would rather just sit here and talk to you guys all day long, but I don't think you guys would appreciate that, and I know I don't have the time for that. So I'm going to leave this here. I have discount codes and affiliate links down below if that interests you. I hope you have a beautiful day, and if you want to share your story on why having a hobby like this is beneficial to you, email me at diamondsandthoughts@gmail.com and I can help you share your story and keep you anonymous. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye!